to you all. My name is Fiona Lawrence and I am a registered celebrant with the Humanist Society of Scotland. And so, ladies and gentlemen, before I chat a little more about Niall and Louise, I would like to ask Willow to come forward and read "You Can Give Without Loving."
You can give without loving, but you can never love without giving. The great acts of love are done by those who are habitually performing small acts of kindness. We pardon to the extent that we love. Love is knowing that even when you are alone, you will never be truly alone again. And great happiness of life is the conviction that we are loved. Loved for ourselves and even loved in spite of ourselves.
Thank you, Willow. Although we all know why we're here today, this ceremony gives us the ideal opportunity to look back and remind ourselves of the events that brought Niall and Louise to this very significant point in their lives. It was back in 2007 that Niall and Louise first met through internet dating. The chat blossomed to meeting up and dating when Niall was back from work in the oil rigs and Louise was free from her career. Their love developed over several months whilst they gallivanted around the Cairngorms, skiing and hiking, and finishing off the day with warming up in the hostelry. Niall and Louise realised very quickly that they were comfortable and at ease in each other's company and that they were a great match. They shared lots of common interests, especially the outdoors. And it didn't take them long to set off on their first adventure together. They made a life-changing decision to live on a boat, so their fun days of sailing from when they were younger very quickly became serious, and they had to learn blooming fast. During their time together, they have developed a number of shared interests. Louise loves to cook for Niall, and he certainly appreciates the food that Louise prepares for him. They both enjoy relaxing in the evenings and socialising with friends. They are at ease and natural with each other, and they can't wait to tie the knot and continue to do new and old things as husband and wife. When I heard how Niall proposed to Louise, I think you will all agree it was well planned, very romantic, very special, and one that they will never forget. Niall's friends, who may be thinking about getting engaged, will have to think very hard to compete with this proposal. It was in November 2012, whilst they were holidaying in New York, a place Niall had always wanted to visit. They both agreed that they would have an afternoon shopping in New York. Niall knew that shopping would be much easier for them if they went their separate ways, and he subtly suggested this to Louise. With Louise happy with this decision, Niall took a ring from Louise's jewellery bag and went out to buy a ring. Louise's mum had given Niall an early Christmas present, which was a dinner trip up the Hudson on a lovely motor yacht. So Niall used that night for his surprise proposal to Louise. It was as they sailed under the Brooklyn Bridge in New York that Niall seized the opportunity and proposed. Louise did admit that it was a huge surprise to her, but she did manage to say yes through her initial shock, which was quickly followed by tears. They were both eager to call family to tell them their wonderful news, which they did. They were both very touched by the emails and texts that they received from everyone in the days that followed. This stunning venue was an obvious choice for the wedding for both Niall and Louise. Niall and his family have enjoyed many a day and night in this amazing area, hiking and camping, and Louise's parents spent a night here before they were married. They did admit that the Stag Ballroom is a cracking venue for a wedding, Kayleigh, which I'm sure you will all agree with. When I met with Niall and Louise a few weeks ago to talk about their plans for today, I asked them to tell me why they love each other and the reasons that they want to get married. They were only too happy to share some of those reasons with me. There are many reasons why Louise loves Niall. Louise loves Niall's confidence in everything that he is faced with, and how he has supported Louise in the most challenging of situations on the boat. Louise loves that they do have fun together, that Niall is caring, and he is always willing to give people his time to help out and chat. Louise loves that Niall is always keen to try something new and to just go for it. He rarely will say no to something. Louise knows that she is very lucky to have met Niall, and he is absolutely perfect for her, and they are the perfect match. He is, without a doubt, her best friend, and she can't wait to be his wife. However, she did also mention that Niall has an inability to attempt anything technical domestic, and that he always seems to win at Scrabble. Niall, on the other hand, mentioned that there were too many reasons to list as to why he loves Louise. But he did say that she has a great attitude to life, and she will give anything a shot. Niall loves that Louise is very loving, very organised, and she is great fun to be around. And she is a social butterfly. Neil claims it was a struggle to think of things that he was not so keen on about Louise, but he did mention that Louise does not make him puddings every night, and he feels that he is fading away. Despite this misgiving, Niall clearly adores Louise, and he tells me he feels extremely lucky to have met the perfect girl and to be marrying her today. Niall and Louise are both well aware that life has its ups and downs, but with the support of each other, they know they will conquer anything, and they will always be there for each other. Before Niall and Louise exchange their wedding vows, I would like to ask Leslie to come forward and read a lovely love story by Edward Monkton.
A lovely love story by Edward Monkton. The fierce dinosaur was trapped inside his cage of ice. Although it was cold there, he was happy. It was, after all, his cage. Then, along came the lovely other dinosaur. The lovely other dinosaur melted the dinosaur's cage with kind words and loving thoughts. I like this dinosaur, thought the lovely other dinosaur. Although he's fierce, he's tender, and he's funny, he's also quite clever, though I shall not tell him this for now. I like this lovely other dinosaur, thought the dinosaur. She's beautiful and she's different, and she smells so nice. She's also free spirit, a quality I much admire in a dinosaur. But he can be so distant and so peculiar at times, thought the lovely other dinosaur. He's also overly fond of things. Are all dinosaurs so overly fond of things? But her mind skips from here to there so quickly, thought the dinosaur. She's also uncommonly keen on organising. Are all lovely other dinosaurs uncommonly keen on organising? I will forgive his peculiarity and his concern for things, thought the lovely other dinosaur, for they are part of what makes him a richly charactered individual. I will forgive her skipping mind and her fondness for organising, thought the dinosaur, for she fills our life with beautiful thoughts and wonderful surprises. Besides, I'm not that keen on organising. Now look at the dinosaur and the lovely other dinosaur. They're happy. Look at them. Together they will stand on the boat, telling each other stories with the warmth of the sun on their back. And that, my friends, is how it is with love. So let us all be dinosaurs and lovely other dinosaurs together. For the sun is warm and the world is a beautiful place.
Thank you very much, Leslie. Niall and Louise have chosen to exchange their wedding vows and confirm their union in the traditional manner of hand fasting. I will tie some ribbon around their joined hands, and the cloth represents the joining of them as individuals in marriage. Hand fasting is an ancient Celtic marriage ritual, and if you ever wondered where the expression tying the knot comes from, now you know. It is a symbolic way of showing that they are joined to one another and their commitment is steadfast and set to last. Richard, will you please give Louise's ring to Niall? Niall, will you please place Louise's ring on the third finger of her left hand as you repeat the following after myself. I call upon these persons here present.
I call upon these persons here present.
To witness that I, Niall Archibald Ewen.
To witness that I, Niall Archibald Ewen.
Do solemnly and sincerely declare.
Do solemnly and sincerely declare.
That I accept you, Louise Toynbee.
That I accept you, Louise Toynbee.
As my lawfully wedded wife.
As my lawfully wedded wife.
I give you this ring as a symbol of my commitment and love for you.
I give you this ring as a symbol of my commitment and love for you.
Richard, will you now please give Niall's ring to Louise? Louise, will you please place Niall's ring on the third finger of his left hand as you repeat the following after myself. I call upon these persons here present.
I call upon these persons here present.
To witness that I, Louise Toynbee.
To witness that I, Louise Toynbee.
Do solemnly and sincerely declare.
Do solemnly and sincerely declare.
That I accept you, Niall Archibald Ewen.
That I accept you, Niall Archibald Ewen.
As my lawfully wedded husband.
As my lawfully wedded husband.
I give you this ring as a symbol of my commitment and love for you.
I give you this ring as a symbol of my commitment and love for you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have witnessed Niall and Louise exchange their legal declarations and wedding rings. And so following the binding declaration you have made in my presence and in the presence of these witnesses, I declare that you, Niall, and you, Louise, are now husband and wife. Louise shall now drink from their family quaich, the traditional two-handled Scottish drinking cup. Drinking from a quaich is an ancient Scottish ceremony symbolic of trust, love and peace between two people. This act of sharing is a symbol of the life that you will share together. In drinking from the same cup, you're symbolising your commitment to share all that the future may bring. Niall and Louise, as you now drink from your quaich, your family and friends and myself wish you joy and fulfilment in the years to come. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now going to sign the marriage schedule to finalise the legal side of Niall and Louise's marriage with our two witnesses, Richard and Sarah.
turn with that person, and then the same with the other person, padaba, and turn. And then you do a figure of 8, turn the first person, turn the second person, turn the first person, turn the second person. And then you go to walk towards the other side, forward to stamp your feet, back to clap your hands, and then you go over and under, and you meet 3 other dancers coming towards you. Could you all do that? Do the over and under bit. Hello, could you do the over and under bit? You should be facing 3 new dancers. Right, and we'll walk